Hello and welcome everybody to the newest installment in Paris Squared. Today's title is Glozel is real. It is the night from the 31st to of March to the 1st of April 2024. You have just found out what happens on those dates because a mysterious library appears. You have met the first Count du Lac, who was still alive until about 2 hours ago and then decided to die. And he gave you his box with information. He has also told you that there is a portal in a place called Glozel, which you haven't really found out where that is yet, because it didn't ring a bell. And you didn't really check out the internet yet and didn't Google map it, but this is something that you can of course do, no problem. And you took a big strong box full of papers and you delivered them to Micheline, who opened it by shooting the lock with her revolver. Then she ordered pizza for herself and for Celeste, because you didn't want any. You said, "Oh, I've still got a baguette. That's enough." Frugal you. And basically now she's sitting there. She started to sort the papers into private correspondence, official documents, if she can identify who the official document is from. If it's from the king, it goes into the king pile. If it's from the Pope, it goes into the Pope pile. And as she's sorting through those, you realize that the Pope was writing lots, and for some reason he was writing lots to the du Lacs because the papal pile is growing. So, number one, would you like to investigate Glozel? Would you like to check
while
first
we
of
are
all where it is?
waiting for her to read through the things and just in between peeking over, I think both of us, I think Celeste as well as Amelie, would start to look on maps where Glozel is and then read everything we can about this place.
Okay, so let me just... Okay, so Glozel is a place, it's about... It is almost due south from Paris. Let me just check. And it would take you today, if you were to drive on this day, it would take you 4.5 hours. It's 376 kilometers from the from the center of Paris. It is it's not too far away from Clermont-Ferrand. So it's and it's fairly rural. And it is it's a bit weird because there's really nothing there. It's kind of like one of those old French places, like those it's almost a village. I would say, let me just check if they tell us how many people there are. It's a small village. It's a town, and it is famous for the Glozel artifacts. And you find a Wikipedia article which tells you that the Glozel artifacts are a collection of over, you don't need to write this down because it's actually on Wikipedia, of over 3,000 artifacts, including forged clay tablets, sculptures and vases, some of which were discovered between 1924 and 1930 in the vicinity of the French hamlet of Glozel. And you can look at them. There is a museum in Glozel. And you also find out that there was a controversy. There are those... the French Archaeological Academia was dismissive of the first reports from 1925, saying because the person who published them was an amateur and a peasant. So, you know, that was like still French class system. And they then later on went there and did do some digging themselves, and they did find what they considered real stoneware pottery. So this kind of like ebbed and flowed for about 5 to 6 years. And then the English came in and also started to dig. And then there was kind of like this controversy where the English archaeologists were saying, yes, this is correct, this is true, this is real. And then the French said no. And then there were some French who said yes. And then there was some English who said no. So there was all of this stuff going on. And then in the 1995, the United States archaeology team from surrounding Alice and Sam Gerard started to carbon date some of the findings and place them in the 13th century. So this is super old, which also puts it very close to the vicinity of the first Count du Lac, who first appeared in...
That would be, I think, we would
1120.
urgently try to find anything between like 1100 to 1600, whatever we can gather in history around this place. Also curious, do they have church or cathedral or anything there?
They do have a church.
Might have a link to the Pope, or to the Catholic Church, or Vatican in this case.
So what is interesting as well, and this is also something that you find, is they have also found bones. The oldest one that they found dating back to the 5th century. And they say that this kind of indicates that there has been continuous settlement for over 1500 years. And they also found something called the Glozel tablets, which are 100 ceramic tablets bearing inscriptions. They are about 6 to 7 lines long, and mostly single-sided. And the problem is nobody can read the alphabet. It is a little bit like the Phoenician alphabet, but they have not been deciphered, and there are numerous claims of decipherment where people said, oh, I recognize this language, it's Basque, Chaldean, Ethio-Cretan, Hebrew, Iberian, Latin, Berber, Ligurian, Phoenician, and Turkic. But nobody has really been able to say yes, and I can read them. It's a little bit like Linear A, which we still can't read.
Can we find pictures of the tablets online?
Well, I have a drawing which I can show, which you find also on Wikipedia.
Because I think Amelie would have the idea when she stumbles over this to, in between, try to disturb Micheline. And also Celeste, and be like, can anyone decipher this, or does it ring a bell for anyone? Just to be curious.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I suddenly my disc screen goes black, and then I'm not sure if you can actually see. Okay, so let's see.
Very cryptic.
It is very cryptic. So Celeste gets nothing because she rolled a 13. But this is, and Micheline looks at it, she blows another of her gum bubbles and is like, it's not French.
It's also not Latin. Will be the
well then, we have excluded two.
And it's not, well, it's none of the languages we know, I suspect. But Amelie would save, or maybe would even be curious if oh god, she's scared to ask, but if they have a printer here that we can use?
Of course. Color,
Then
inkjet. We've got several 3D printers as well.
no, I just need to print on paper. Thank you. Just for my notebook. It's easier than if I have to draw it by hand. Hmm?
You see that Celeste is having a slight meltdown going, you don't... Okay, well, it's on the web. It's in the public domain. Knock yourself
Printing
out.
something from Wikipedia can't be that bad. My notes, that is maybe the problems, but...
So you start printing. It's not a problem. And
Emily's then also Googling hotels in the area to see if we can, if there's a place that we can stay, or maybe even better an Airbnb, or anything like that, or pension, or whatever.
you also
Bed and
learn that
breakfast.
one of the strongest supporters of the claim that Glozel is real is a man named François Junot. And François Junot said that he had made a discovery that would prove for all eternity that Glozel is real, because he has found a way to decipher the language. He was in Paris at the Gare de l'Est when he fell before a train and died. And that was that.
I think then Amélie would go on a rabbit hole on François Junot to see if he has like people who inherited stuff, or his stuff went to museum, university, because usually if you have people like that, their studies, best case, don't just vanish into the dumpster, but get into hands that
Make
can
an
use it.
intelligence roll and include your occultism, please.
Okay. Throwing dice around.
Good. Starting well already.
Well, no stunt die, sadly, but a 4, 5, and a 6. So 15, 18, 19.
That is very good. You find out that there is a lady called Nicolette or Nicole Junot who lives in Paris and who is his only living relative, and she is his niece. He himself was born in 1900. He died in 1929. She was born in 1920, so she's now 104. But apparently she's still sprightly. Because she lives in the middle of Paris. In the Marais.
Amélie will note down contact data, whatever she can find. If there's a phone number or an address, whatever.
Yeah, no problem.
And she will wait. I guess it's still very early morning, I suspect.
Yeah, it's now 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
You are
so-
getting tired. You are now really
we
getting
don't want to call
knackered.
anyone at the moment, especially not an old lady like that.
You can also roll on Constitution now. As will Celeste. Okay, Celeste fails. She only has a 10. She's getting really tired.
That is 12.
Yeah, you are also feeling it. You're not as tired as Celeste. Celeste, you can see her eyes are drooping.
Is there a couch or something like that here?
Yeah.
More than one.
No, Micheline lives here, so basically there's only the one cat. Well, she lives here. She seems to actually live here, although it doesn't look like a living room. It's more like I said, there was a kitchenette and she has a desk
I
and there's
think
a
we
television.
will just let her work, and Amélie will be like, you should lay down. Come on. The couch is there. Just for a few moments. Close your eyes. Relax.
Yeah, But I mean, we cannot just ask her to do stuff and then I go to sleep.
But we can't help.
Make a communication check.
Wait. That is 14.
That's good enough. You see that it's kind of not, it doesn't agree with her, what you're saying, but you also see that she's unable to argue because she is so dead tired.
It's enough that one of us is awake. You go sleep and I sleep afterwards. Come on, just for a short nap. I will wake you up.
She goes down. She goes to the sofa. There is also a blanket. She puts the blanket over her. She falls asleep. You can tell. She doesn't snore, but she's really kind of like, you see this total relaxation of the body, and she starts to breathe like a sleeping person.
Amelie will just roll up her jacket like a little bit of a pillow, and she will just plonk herself on the table and will just close her eyes.
Micheline eats her pizza, and she's like, whoever was Pope back then really should have used a marketing department to write his letters. They are so boring and dull. Ooh, that's interesting. This one.
She will hear snoring from Amelie. I just wrote another constitution, which was a 6.
Oh God.
No, it's a 7. It's a lie. It's a 7. It's still not good.
So you're not hearing any of this, but of course the camera hears it and our microphone picks up the sound because Micheline is like, nobody listens. And then you wake up again. It is now 8 o'clock in the morning. Celeste is also just about to wake up. Micheline is sitting there going, well, you got some rest, didn't you?
I'm sorry.
That must be bad for the old back. The way you were sitting there and sleeping can't have been good for the neck.
It's okay, and we couldn't really help, so we didn't want to disturb you.
I was joking. So I've ordered breakfast. We're gonna get some croissant, some jam, and some butter. I hope this suits.
Coffee.
Of course there will be coffee. This is France.
Then we wait for breakfast.
She has changed. She's now wearing an oversized Disney Minnie Mouse shirt, kind of like down to almost to her knees. She looks a little bit now like Madonna in Desperately Seeking Suzanne. Also the hair kind of like completely wild. And she's already drinking coffee, and she offers you a cup, and she offers a cup to Celeste. And she says, so, I've been dying to tell you this. Most of this stuff is completely unimportant. Unless you're interested in real estate in the 1400s. Interested in real estate in the 1400s? Didn't think so. So, but this one here, and she holds up a piece of paper. And she says, this one is important because it mentions Glozel. And it mentions that the Pope is very concerned about the Knights Templars' activities in said village, because it seems they had a church there and possibly some kind of monastery. Now tell me this is news and you didn't know this before, because otherwise I'm gonna go into the corner and cry.
I haven't read anything about the Templars in Glozel.
Well, now you know. And the Pope actually says here that they need to be stopped.
But Dulac was one of the Templars. Why would he ride with him?
This letter isn't to Count Dulac. It's not a letter. It is an official papal bull.
So something like in that they put on the blackboards of the villages.
More like the blackboards of the churches and the clergy. But yes, pretty much. And I'm pretty sure that if you were to research the dates, you would find out that not too long after this was published, in inverted commas published, but made public, there would have been a purge, and possibly all of the Knights Templar in Glozel either fled or were killed.
Any of the Pope papers, were they letters to Dulac, or were they all just for your information?
Well, they weren't to Dulac, they were to somebody named d'Artois. And they are much older.
Amelie just flips through her. But Dulac was Artois.
That's true. But
So the Pope was writing with Count
it's not the
Artois.
same. It's not the same Pope. It's different popes. It's the Pope as an in the office Pope.
But they need to have.
I doubt that the Pope knows that d'Artois is Dulac, says Celeste. D'Artois
think,
was the Knight Templar. I assume that when they killed all of them, he became Dulac to escape the Pope and the papal purges. And of course, back then they didn't have paintings. They didn't they did have paintings, but you know, if he just basically moved into the country, which he did, he built that house and became Dulac. You know.
And it's true, Artois was the Templar.
And it could be that just someone said, oh, I found Artois and he's dead and he's burnt over there. And, you know, like they may have burned somebody in his stead. And Artois becomes Dulac. And the Pope thinks Artois is dead.
I guess it all leads to us definitely going to Glozel one day, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
First, we might try to talk to an very old, for you, pointing over to Micheline, maybe young lady. There was one guy who seemed to have translated the weird tablets in Glozel, but he died mysteriously by an accident. She's still alive. She's 104 years old, young, however you want to say, but she's living in Paris. Maybe she knows where his notes and everything went.
Maybe she does.
It's worth asking, as long as she's still around, and I think we should be quick.
Uh-huh.
For Glozel, well, it needs to wait until I have Paul's in university if we want to go there together.
Of course.
Although he sounded urgent, didn't he?
Well, I mean, he did talk about time travel, so then nothing's urgent because you can always go back in time.
Well, but I don't want to travel to Glozel through time. I just want to visit Glozel in our time.
Well, I'm not sure if it's urgent. I mean, there's a portal there. He's been trying to close it for whatever reason. He's been unsuccessful, so I don't know if it's urgent or not.
So we tried to get hold of Mrs. Junot and make a vacation plan to visit Glozel and see
Sure.
what we can find on site.
Mm-hmm.
And Amelie will also drag her PC or drag over her phone again and be like, just to see if she can find any kind of hints of Glozel and the Templars.
You want to know if you can find stuff that connects Glozel to the Templars?
Or any kind of things in Glozel where it's like, we suspect Templars were here.
let me get my secret book.
And should I roll maybe for that? Because it's
You can
definitely
start rolling,
a
yes.
hidden thing, right?
Because of course that can't be found on Wikipedia.
Um, 14, 17 on the dice, or dice plus my bonus.
Um, 17, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Anything on the stunt die?
Nope.
Okay.
And it's totally fine if there's nothing.
There is. What you find is that you're looking at the reign, as it were, of Pope Clement V.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really not very happy with the Templars. But the reason was pretty much because they were very rich.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted the money, and he also wanted everything that they own. And there was also, at the time, other forces that also didn't like the Templars, namely the King of France, for the same reasons. And then they started to try and find a way to, or a reason, because just being rich didn't
not
work
enough.
at that time. So they started to say things like that they were worshipping the devil, which of course in Catholic times that was like the same as witchcraft, it was a death sentence. And it was said that they were worshipping something called the head of Baphomet, which nobody really knows what this looked like and if it was real. But it is believed that they got it from the Holy Land as part of tribute that they were owed by a group named the Hashashini, which simply means the hashish eaters, which was a sect of it's not a Christian sect, but it was a sect of people of soldiers, if you like, that sold their swords. They were sell swords, and were renowned for their inability to feel pain. Well, they were high, essentially. And the Templars decided, hey, that this is a very good alliance, because we can send those guys in and not get... I mean, the Templars were very, very brave. When they did fight, they were very brave. But, the Hashashini were non-believers, heathens in the eyes of the Catholics. And basically, if they die, that's not as bad as if a Catholic knight dies. So they sent them in. And also, basically, the Hashashini had to pay them tribute. And it is believed that in order to free themselves from the Templars, they gave them this present.
Okay.
Which then started to, to take hold of the order. And it is believed, and you find this as well, that the term Baphomet is actually an Arabic word called Abu Fihamet, which means source or beginning. And basically, it was believed that this thing, this artifact, would talk to them and would give them the source of some kind of heretic belief system, whatever. However, even after all of the Templars had been killed, this head of Baphomet was never found. So it's unclear if it was taken, got lost, was destroyed, but nobody ever claimed that they saw it. Not even the Pope, after the destruction of the Order, said, and here is the... Because that would have been the smart thing to do, to then come up with this artifact, show it to the world and say, and this is why we had to get rid of them. Because the fact that the Knights Templars were destroyed completely and killed wasn't something that was so popular with people either.
Well, and there's a lot of things they haven't found on the Templars so far, because the Templars buried the stuff, because they were, before I die, I'd rather bury it and no one have it before you have it. So there is a lot in the ground that no one found properly, or
And
in
Celeste
the ocean.
says, or
in the seas.
I just take on a different personality and then live for another 600 years, and God knows what I do with the stuff that has been given me.
Well, the other thing we could do, as long as I still have university, Celeste, is maybe visit Mr. Dulac another time and have a little bit peek and snoop through the bibliothèque.
Yeah, because the old Dulac said that he had left all of his notes there, so maybe they are still somewhere to be found. And he did invite us. He did say that if we wanted a reading weekend, we could come over and stay over, and, you know, maybe the place is haunted.
I would rather think that we could bring him back his picture and maybe tell him at least a little bit about his ancestor.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we can't stay overnight. Maybe the place is haunted and then just spend some time in the library. And I can bring my extra EPS sensors and maybe find a ghost or ectoplasm. No?
I'm fine in staying over. But if you pull out all that stuff, he will throw it out quicker than we can see, because he thinks we're nutbags.
I always wanted to try this.
I really hope it's not haunted, because then I don't want to stay there. I had my fair share of haunting, and I am not even in the slightest chance coping with the idea that we've met death.
Well, she was a bit of a letdown, wasn't she? I mean, she didn't even talk.
Maybe that's her spiel? Maybe she can't talk.
She didn't look like I expected. I thought death was kind of like a walking skeleton with a scythe.
That's why it still feels like a very weird fever dream that we went through last night.
Micheline is like, you met Death? Really? What's he like?
She.
What?
Amelie will describe her. Quite underwhelming. She was very nice in letting us have a talk before she took him.
Was she pretty?
We can't really say.
You would say that she probably looked average. I mean, there was nothing really about her. She was wearing kind of like a sackcloth kind of thing, and this really boring candle. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, okay, so what do you want me to do with all these papers? Shall I just basically put them back in the box and you take the box? Or do you want me to store the box for you? Or what are your plans? Because, I mean, you can't stay here in my room.
Is there a way you can store it here safely, but if we need access, we can still get access to it?
It's the Bibliothèque Nationale. You can store anything and everything here, and it will be safe as houses. I mean, how about we put it in your vault?
Amelie is just like, what?
Well, your vault.
She's looking over to Celeste very questioningly.
Celeste looks at you, puzzled. Come again? Well, you each have a vault.
What?
As a member of the ITEON, and might I add, of the inner circle, you've of course been given a vault where you can store important stuff. Let me check. She gets up, she goes to her laptop, to her computer, she starts typing. She's like, all right, so Amélie Dubois, vault number 2104. Celeste Durand, vault number 2206.
I never got any kind of manual and instruction or welcome to the club anything. Maybe you should have like a handout where everything is written down for members?
Didn't you even get the pin?
Very empty faces, at least from Amelie. Not sure how it's with Celeste, but Amelie is like, what?
She opens a drawer. She takes out two things that are kind of like metal, about this size, and each of them is a little pin saying Bibliothèque Nationale. So, here's your pin.
And it does what?
It's shiny. You can put it on your lapel. You can put it on your bag. It's nice.
I can put it in the vault.
If you like, but it would feel really lonely there because it's only this size. The vault is bigger than a walk-in closet. Okay, I'll take you.
Amelie's just looking over to Celeste and is just like, heck.
Can we have breakfast before we go anywhere, please? All right, we'll wait for the... she picks up the phone. What about the croissant? And the breakfast? No, they're awake. Oh, you were just holding it because they were still asleep. Oh, that's too kind. You can bring it down.
And more coffee, please.
Well, go and help yourself. There's my
Maybe
coffee machine.
Something stronger?
Espresso? What? Oh, isn't it a bit early? It's not even 9:30.
After all we've been through, I don't think time matters.
I've got cognac.
Amelie's just nodding.
She opens another drawer on the left side and takes out a bottle of cognac and a couple of cognac glasses and fills them.
Amelie would just
Exit.
Just one, and she's just exit and be like...
Micheline looks at you and you can tell that she's very surprised. She says, well, I guess it's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
Not sure this is helping.
And on an empty stomach too. Make a constitution check.
Maybe it's working better when it's an empty stomach.
Your eyes begin to water.
Constitution is 15.
Okay, you are fine. You are not drunk.
No, it's burning. It's not feeling nice, but
well, I mean, you are fine in terms of you're still in, at full capacity, but your eyes are watering. It's burning. Yeah. Then there's a knock, and a lady with a tea trolley comes in with the breakfast. She seems to be the breakfast lady because she's dressed like a maid. And then she says, can I take the order for lunch? Because did you take a look at the menu yet, Micheline? And Micheline's like, oh, sorry, I forgot. She type. Okay, I'm going to have the salmon in the mustard sauce with rice and cauliflower. And I'm going to have the crème brûlée for dessert. And as a starter, I'm going to take the soup. What would you like? And she smiles at you. Have you made your... Oh, you haven't seen the menu, have you? She turns around her laptop and you can see the list that you can choose from. You've got 7 different dishes.
No
Celeste
lunch
looks
for me. Thank you.
How? Celeste looks at you. How?
We're just having breakfast, and then I will go home, have a shower, and try to get proper sleep in a proper bed.
You see that Celeste is really downcast because she can't, because the food looks really good
You can stay here. You don't have to leave with me. Maybe
No,
you
of
have
course.
more you want to look at.
No, I mean, I can't read this stuff. So basically then, but Celeste will not walk away without having breakfast first. So she's eating her croissant.
Amelie will eat some breakfast.
And then Celeste and you are ready to be shown to your vaults. So you go to the elevator. It's -10.
I think Amelie and
-10.
Celeste do a little bit like stone, paper, scissor on in which vault the box will be put.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's...
okay. 1, 2,
Second.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ha! You win. So
Okay.
you get to choose
It goes in hers.
in Celeste's. Okay, so I'm gonna make a note that the box is in here. Okay, so you arrive. So the voice says -10 basement vault section. The doors open, and again, it's this time round. It's more like a very long corridor, and there are metal doors on either side. And she says, "Well, this is the 20 section. There are 210 on this floor. Basement 9 is the 10 section. There are 210 there as well. We don't have any more vaults than that, so it's 420 in total. Most of them are empty. So this one is yours, and you go to 2104. But you don't want to put anything in there. Do you want to open it anyway?
I want to open it, have a look at, and have the weird question of how can I access this? If it's a vault, it's not just a normal door that anyone can open.
Oh, it's very simple. It scans your fingerprints.
Where do you have my fingerprints of?
You've been touching so many surfaces.
I did not sign any agreement of you saving my data.
I didn't save the data. The Ition did. Don't look at me. I just work here.
Do they have papers on how they work with... This doesn't sound safe.
Celeste is standing there going, and this from somebody who writes down important information on paper and leaves it in her house.
Yeah, because I know who has access to it, but this is online data with my fingerprint. Is this GDPR confirmed? Who can I talk to? Who's your data security officer?
Let me check. The data security officer's name is Etienne Courbet.
Can I have his contact data? I want to know where the data is stored, how it's stored, and who has access to that.
Yes, you can. I never thought I would need to give Ition a data security officer, but now we have one. His name is Etienne Courbet. You get his name, number, and room number. And say hi to him from me, says Micheline. So basically, do you scan your fingerprints, or do you leave the door closed?
I scan my fingerprint because I'm so curious what is in there.
Okay, so the door, you hear a soft click, and then you can push the door lightly and it opens.
How big is the room? Is there anything in there?
Well, number one, it is fairly big. You would say it's probably 120 wide. But the door itself is only 80 centimeters. So it's because
Okay.
it's got shelves on either side that you don't walk into. And you walk in and you keep going and going and going. And you would say it's probably around 6 meters in. It's And the thing is, it's quite tall, so there is a ladder that you can use to get at the higher shelves. So you could store lots of stuff there, and those are heavy duty metal frame. Movable shelves, so you could take out the shelf itself and then take out the hooks on which it rests and put them differently into the braces on the side. So there's basically those metal rungs, and you can just fit the hooks into it, and then you can place the shelf on the hooks.
Amelie will stand in the middle of this room. It's like, I don't need this. I have nothing to store except maybe a little box.
I'm sorry, they all are the same size.
Amelie will place her pin in the middle of the room on the floor, and she will walk out and close the door.
You can hear the pin scream and shout and cry and have a little temper tantrum. No, not really. It's a metal pin. It says Bibliothèque Nationale. It's not sentient. So you go to the next room. It's Celeste. Celeste scans her fingerprints. She opens the door. She places the box inside, and she walks out again and closes the door.
Amelie will lean over to, do you really think this is safe?
Tell me another place that you know of that you have as easy access to as this one that is safer. And don't say your home.
Okay. Your home? After all we've been through, no, it's not safe. We know that.
Also, I don't want the stuff there. Because if somebody comes for it, and I'm not there, but Ash is.
True. If I would put the box between all the other boxes in the attic, where all the other weird stuff is stored from Isabel, no one will find it. Probably I will not even be able to find it again.
So that's not safe, because we need to be able to access it at a later date.
Well, if no one can find it, it's safe, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure that nobody can find it here.
Okay. I still want to talk to Mr. Kubi. Not sure if you want to join. If not, you can...
No, I will be there. I would really like to hear what you have to say to the Chief Data Officer of the ITON.
A few harsh words on how they can steal data that they did get no approval for, and if we can change the kind of locks to something that is not fingerprint.
Well then, let's give him a ring. She
no,
points to...
we will walk by.
All right, then let's walk by. Lead the way.
Amelie will just be before Micheline will just one question. If we go to Glozel, is there something like travel budget? Because I can't finance a vacation there.
Of course.
Where can we request that? With which form?
Form?
Email?
You tell Eric what you need and he will give it to you. If you want a car, he will organize a car. If you want to, you can use our Expedia website. If you want to book a hotel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your help of translating and reading.
Micheline looks at you and she says, I really understand why you're asking for a manual. You know nothing.
I'm a simple university student who stumbled into this madness out of accident.
Well, you are part Jaina, so you're not just a simple student.
I still highly doubt that, but... well...
Celeste says to Micheline, she's taking some time adjusting. It's difficult.
See you. Emily will turn around and will look for the office of Mr. Etienne Courbet.
Yeah, you have to take the lift to go upstairs. It's
That
on
is
this.
fine.
It's actually on the ground floor. You find it easily. You knock, or do you just walk in, or what do you do?
No, I will knock. I know how to behave, so it's knocking.
Come.
Mr. Courbet, would you have a few minutes?
Of course, Mademoiselle
Dubois.
Dubois. Of course. Please take a seat.
Thank
And
you.
you are Mademoiselle Durand. Pleased to meet you. Please do sit down. How can I help?
I have a security incident to log, basically. My data was stolen. And used.
Data
Without my
was stolen
consent.
and used. What kind of data was stolen and used, Mademoiselle?
My fingerprint, and I guess probably much more. I would like to know what kind of data you are storing here and under which law regulation. Because it's not GDPR confirmed, because then I would have had to sign my consent that you store my data.
I see. Well, what is your... how do you spell your full name?
I will give him the full...
Type. Well, date of birth, address, phone number, height, weight, iris scan, fingerprints. Well, it's the usual. Which of these do you not agree to?
All of them. I never agreed to that. I have no idea what you do with this data. Maybe you're selling it to Mr. Facebook, you know?
I doubt that Facebook could use your iris scan, but
You never know what they are working on.
I can assure you that we do not trade your data. This is the ITON.
That doesn't mean anything. Is there any kind of law regulation that you follow that we can have a look at on how you handle data? Because obviously you're not handling it well. Stealing it from people that did not agree to it is kind of a cause for me to... Could go to the police with that.
Good luck going to the police with this, but if you so wish, I can remove your fingerprints and your iris scan.
That would be very lovely. And also my address.
Well, how are we going to send you your library card?
I can
Updates
just
and the
pick it.
catalogue news and the newsletter and everything
I
else?
don't need all of that. If I need to pick anything up, I can pick it up here. You can have my
Well,
phone
I'm
number
afraid
and
you
my
cannot.
name.
You cannot hold a library card without a valid Paris address.
Then I don't need a library card. And she will put the library card and push it over to him.
Celeste sucks in the air. You need this card. This is the Bibliothèque Nationale. Every single French citizen can have a library card if they give their address. That's the way this works.
But usually you have to sign something. I did not sign a single piece of paper. They can do anything they want with my data. They can sell it to the feds in America, and they can do weird stuff with it. And next time I want to travel there, I can't.
Would you feel better if I made you sign something in triplicate?
No. I should have done that before, not now. That's the wrong time.
Et alors? He mumbles something. Then he says, I'm now going to delete your data.
Thank you.
Which also means that you cannot enter this building again. You will have to reapply. Click.
Good. Thank you.
He takes your card. He takes scissors to it. He shreds it in front of your eyes.
Can you please show me the monitor that it's really deleted? Because usually it's never deleted. It's just said inactive.
He turns around his laptop and he says, see this where it says query?
Mm-hmm.
Type in user.
Clickety-clicker.
Press enter.
Click.
Name, first, last. Type in your name.
She will enter.
No records found.
Thank you very much. She will carefully turn it around again. She will give him a big smile.
He then turns to Celeste and says, "And what is your request, mademoiselle?" "Nothing, I'm fine." "Then, bonjour."
Bonjour.
Celeste gets up and she opens the door and she basically
I will place a formal complaint against the library. If anyone can get a card without signing any consent to data being stored, this is a problem.
He gives you an angelic smile. Celeste pulls you out the door.
I'll follow Celeste. I have what I wanted.
She closes the door. Are you happy now?
No, as I said, I will raise a formal complaint against the library. People need to know that they are doing with the data whatever they want.
They aren't doing anything with the data. They stored it.
They can do anything they want because there's no regulation and no contract, nothing.
Celeste rolls her eyes.
Why am I the one saying that? You should be the one deep dive into this insanity.
Because I trust no one.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't want them to have my data and able to be doing with what they ever want with that.
That's the way of the world.
Well, I'm very hesitant on who has my data. I know the university has my data because I couldn't get past it.
It is so funny that you should say this, but let's go. You need to go home and have a shower and lie down, and I need to get something to eat.
You just had breakfast.
That was an hour ago. I'm starving. It was a very long night, and I'm honestly, food is comfort.
I'll get that. Should we still meet up in a... I don't know. Should we try still to call Madame Junot and see if she has time for us to visit?
Do you want to
maybe?
call her now?
Yeah, why not? And Amelie will pull out her mobile phone and she will dial the phone number that she found online.
The phone is answered. Oui. And the voice doesn't sound like 104.
I'm looking for Miss François Junot.
No, Nicole. François
Nicole.
was
François was
the
the dad. Yeah,
uncle.
Nicole.
The
Nicole.
uncle.
Yeah. Oh, the uncle. Okay.
Yes. Who may I say is calling?
Miss Dubois, she doesn't know me, but we are researching a few things and we stumbled over her uncle, and she's the only one following in his footstep.
Her uncle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know she had an uncle.
We would be curious if we could talk to her for a few minutes.
Well,
Either
not
phone-
on the phone at the moment because she's actually outside and feeding the birds. But could you come by? She's a bit hard of hearing. Talking to people on the phone is a bit difficult. Because she needs to lip read.
Yeah, it's no problem. When would it fit for her?
Well, she has lunch at 12:30 and then she lies down for 1.5 hours every day. So you could come by at 3 o'clock.
Shall we bring some I don't know, eclairs, macarons, a little bit for coffee?
Oh, she loves that. Yes.
Then we will do that. And I will say we. So it's Miss Dubois and Miss Durand, my colleague as well.
All right, I will let her know to expect you today at 3 o'clock.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. See you then. Bye.
Bye. So here's the address. Do we meet there shortly before 3 o'clock? I can
Yes.
organize like some eclair and some a little bit of something. Then you get lunch. I will get a shower. I need a shower. I need a cat.
Yes, whatever floats your boat.
Then I will see you later.
I'll see you later.
I will give her a clap on the shoulder and then
Yeah,
I'm walking
Celeste,
home.
Celeste leaves as well. You arrive home.
I warned them that I will not be home at the night, so they wouldn't worry. But I will come home. I will just peek in. Just
Well,
say hello, whoever's there.
It's actually Easter Monday,
Okay.
so the shop would probably be closed. And they will be. I don't know if they would be going out or pottering around the house or what they would be doing.
Probably pottering around the house.
So they're pottering around the house. You see the cats are there lounging. Toulouse, of course, when he sees you, starts meowing because he thinks that he deserves at least 5 snacks.
I don't have snacks for you, darling. I will need a shower. And afterwards, maybe a little nap. Just looking at the watch, a tiny nap.
Nicolas is there. You can hear he's listening to the music of Les Enterres Vivants. He didn't close his door.
I will not disturb him. I will just walk by.
You still
I will
have the sleeves that are signed in your bag in a manila envelope. Do you give them to him now?
I think at the moment she's not even thinking about that. She will just drop it on her bed and she will grab some new clothing and she will go in the bathroom, have a very long and hot shower.
And then you go to bed.
And then she will put her mobile phone to wake her up early enough that she can get ready and also walk by the patisserie probably. And then just at least a short nap. She will leave the door open, so if a cat wants to join, the cat is able to join.
You see a tail walk past your bed, and then Toulouse jumps onto the bedclothes and then just snuggles up with you, purring loudly. He's given up on the snacks. He'll take cuddles instead.
He will get cuddles, and I think that's exactly what Amelie needs after this day.
Of course, they are very sensitive, so he realizes that something's wrong.
She would just say to him, "It's a very weird world we're living in, darling."
He agrees completely because cats know. They've seen the weirdness. They probably can look beyond the veil. So give us a little bit of an insight into Amelie's state of mind and her feelings towards this whole thing.
I think her feelings and her state of mind is probably just pure chaos. Between this cannot be real, this is all insane, but the story is very curious and it would be really interesting to follow up. And still, her gut feeling is still not feeling safe or good with this whole organization thing. She's very skeptic because there's nothing publicly known. They just can do whatever they want. And that is something that Amelie highly finds very suspicious. So she's torn. She's really torn between... She's interested in the story, which means she has to work with them. At the same time, she has no idea if they're really on the right side of the story, or if they're following their quite own story, which she thinks is the case, that they have their own agenda and they do whatever they like and they don't care about normal human rights, I highly suspect. And she's very like, if Celeste would not be there, she would probably try to bring them down again, but she will not. Also because she knows she will probably end up in jail, maybe shot this time if she tries again.
Still ignoring the fact that it was not the Ition that was trying to kill you. It was
That
the other
does not-
ones.
Doesn't matter. It's all the same weirdness for her. It's all
Okay.
not official legal organizations. Because
Yeah,
I'm
they're
quite
not
sure
official anyway.
If you Google, you will not find anything about it.
No, you won't.
You will find the library. The library is existent, yes, but...
And it is the Bibliothèque Nationale. It's real.
Yes.
It's in a building. It exists in France, Paris.
I know.
Yeah.
And you can really get books there, and you can have a card there, and I'm quite sure you have to leave the address there. That is quite valid, because
Yeah.
they need to know if you don't return the books. Where
I
to
mean,
find
even
them.
here in Germany, you even have to have proof of address. It's not enough to tell them where you live. You have to have
In
a...
Germany, you are signing
ID.
contracts for that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you have to sign like
Yeah,
this,
and
you can
everything,
store
and
my
this is
data.
what we do with your
We
data,
all
yeah.
know the madness.
Yeah.
Um,
In France too, because it's a European Union in 2024, they would also...
I think Amelie was just on a run. It would just be for the bibliothèque to give the address to have a card and enter the bibliothèque. It would probably be totally fine. But she was in the go of like, yes, delete everything, please, thank you. And
Okay, so basically you go to sleep, and then your phone alarm goes off.
I'm quite sure she did not have a restful. She probably dreamt total madness. A wild mix of everything. Templars running through her room or whatever. Sword
That's
fighting.
a nightmare. Yeah. And you get ready. You do what you have to do.
Yeah. I grab
You
a
get
little
the
bit
stuff.
of nice, yummy things.
And then you take you go to the address. I leave it up to you if you want to take the metro, if you want to take a cab or whatever.
No, it would be the metro or walk or mix probably of both.
And you arrive, and then you see Celeste. She's already there, and she looks very pensive. And let's see if she sees you.
She doesn't need to.
Oh,
She will
Josh.
hear,
She turns around and she says, "Ah, hi.
hi. Got the snackage.
Very good."
Then let's go inside.
She rings the bell. I've already checked where the bell is.
I hope
The
you
door.
didn't wait too long. I'm in time,
No.
am I?
Yes, you're 5 minutes early, as you should be. No, I didn't have anything on, so I just decided to stake out the place a little.
I hope you got food.
Of course, I had food,
Good.
but there was plenty of hours that I had to fill. So I decided to just come early and walk around. There's a very lovely graveyard just over there. They have a very nice cemetery, 2 roads down, 2 streets down.
Why didn't you go home and get some sleep?
I did go home. I changed. You can see that she's now dressed
Yeah.
differently, just as you are. But I didn't need any sleep. I slept last night, remember?
Not much.
Is this now the French Inquisition?
Yes. We clearly have a different sleep schedule to function. Lucky you. I could not work with just 3 or 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, but then again, I didn't have a cognac.
But didn't do anything. Except burning my throat.
Well, let's just put it this way. I couldn't stand being at home alone, so I decided to just walk around.
You need a cat, obviously.
How's that gonna help?
You're never alone. They're very good at keeping you company.
Uh-huh. So I'm gonna end up like a crazy cat lady one day, surrounded by cats and living my life alone
said
without humans.
Cat. Not the amount of cats we have. That's too much. But one is quite nice.
Let's go inside.
Amelie is like, getting a kitten for Celeste for her birthday. When is her birthday? Probably while walking in. By the way, when is your birthday?
What? How is this going to be GDPR compliant?
I'm not writing it down.
Like you can remember?
Yes. You don't have to tell me.
It's the 7th of May.
So.
She looks at you really puzzled. Okay, so when's yours?
Did I even... Do they have an official date? Do we have anything like that written
If
in
you
already?
gave her one, then yes. If you didn't, it's not something that you have to put on the thing.
I don't think I ever put it down. I have how old she is.
She's 23, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
so
birthday.
So she was born on the 7th of May 1999.
Okay.
Then you'll have to make up a birthday. Pick a date.
The 13th of June.
Okay. And she is 23, so you were born in 2001. You're both millennials. They're both millennials. They were born... Wow. And basically then you arrive, it's one of those older houses with those really weird, quite unsafe looking lifts. The ones that are more like a cage thingy. Do you take the lift or do you walk?
Amelie will take the lift.
Okay.
As long as there's no sign in there out of order, she will take the lift. I'm not sure what Celeste will do.
You go in there and it's one of the ones where you have to close the doors manually. And it starts creaking and it moves you up. It's probably safe. But and you can see everything because it's not closed. So you see
totally fine with that.
Down. Okay. You arrive on the 3rd floor. And there is there's only one door per floor, which means that whatever is behind it is big.
Mm-hmm.
So the door is already open and you see a lady there, probably around 40, wearing a costume, like, short, knee-length skirt, that kind of thing. And she smiles at you and she says, Mademoiselle Durand, Mademoiselle Dubois?
Yes, I guess we phoned earlier today.
Yes, my name is Lisa Beauvilliers. I'm I'm Mademoiselle Junot's companion.
Nice to meet you. And as promised, she will carefully hand over the box with the snackage. As promised.
Thank you so much. She takes it, she accepts it, and says, "Will you step inside, please?
Yes, thank you.
If you would like to go through to the salon, Mademoiselle Junot will be with you presently. I'm going to put these on plates and then serve them with coffee."
Let us know if you need help.
Oh no, thank you. I'm fine.
Okay.
So basically, this is a very spacious place. The salon is easily 20 square meters. Very, very bright because she's got these... It's a very tall room, like 3 meters high, 3 meters ceiling height. And you have those tall French windows, ceiling to floor. And she has those typical French balconies, basically not very deep, but many of them. So basically all of these are more like doors, and you could, if you wanted to, step outside. And these ones are facing the yard.
I think Amelie in her mind is like, one day I want something like this.
And then you hear a little bit of clinking of crockery, and then Miss Mademoiselle oder Madame hat sie gar nicht gesagt, Beauvilliers comes in with the food and the drinks, and then you hear a clack, 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 and then a very old lady, very well dressed, and very and with very blue eyes and grey hair, little bit of a southern French complexion, steps inside, and she is you can tell that she's probably already started to shrink, as especially women do, because of the loss of bone structure.
And she's old, so
and she is very old.
She's
yes,
rather tiny or petite.
Yeah, she's petite. She is petite.
That's a quite nice word for that.
Yeah, and she is. She's got a really. She's wearing a dress in dark blue satin. It looks timeless, but it's not something that possibly people would wear today, but it's something that you can wear, that you can pull off if this is your thing. And she has a very beautiful cane that she uses when she walks. You can see that she also isn't just using it for to look interesting, but she needs it, but she is still quite mobile, so she doesn't need to hold on with the other hand or anything. But she does walk, and she doesn't walk slowly either. She walks at a good pace. And then she says, visitors, I have been expecting you. Please sit down.
Thank you for taking the time.
Of course. And you notice that she's always looking at you when you're speaking and really focusing you, so that, she can do the lip reading thing as well. Please. I was told you were bringing eclair and tarte. This is beautiful. Please help yourselves.
You too, please. And she will look over to the companion as well. So.
I will leave you to it. If there is anything you need, please just ring the bell. And there's a little hand bell on the table, and she says, I will be next door.
Okay.
And the old lady basically chooses one of the things that you brought, and she puts it on her plate, and she starts eating from it. She drinks coffee. She makes sure that you all have something to eat and to drink, and then she basically settles back after a couple of bites, and she says, well then, I don't often have visitors. What can I do for you? It is quite unexpected.
Well, we are researching a few things on the town of Glozel, and we stumbled over your very unfortunate uncle, François, and you were the only one in line that we could find. He found out quite a bit, supposedly, about Glozel and everything around there. And we would be curious if anything of his findings, if they are still there, if they were given to university, or did they just vanish?
First of all, yes, my uncle is connected to the hamlet of Glozel. I don't know what you know about Glozel, but since you are here, I assume that you know about the fact that archaeological findings were made, and there was a big controversy as well.
Yeah, they're still fighting about who's right, who's wrong, what does it all mean, and
especially about what does it all mean, because they found those tablets which nobody has been able to decipher except my uncle. Unfortunately, before he could publish or tell anyone about it, he had an accident.
We read about that. It sounded, well, very unfortunate. He definitely left too early.
Well, we were told he stepped in front of a train. Nobody ever believed it in my family. His wife didn't. His sister didn't. She was my mother. And I said he didn't either. I mean,
His
I knew him.
research, why would he step in front of a train?
Not
when
only
he had
that,
his
he
big
was a happy
breakthrough?
man. He was a happy man. He was married, and it was a happy marriage. Anyway, it was never, I believe, in my opinion, properly investigated. It was said that it was either an unfortunate accident, or he decided to take his own life. I will be quite frank. Why would anyone step in front of a train that's already slowing down? If I wanted to kill myself, I wouldn't just do it in at a train station.
If I wanted to die, I would climb up the Tour Eiffel and jump, because there nothing will save me.
Indeed. Well, anyway, I don't think we will ever find out what happened, but why are you interested, if I may ask? And she takes a sip from her coffee.
Well, we are more on the side of there is something really there, and it's quite valid what they found, but we are stumbling more about that the Templars were there, and we are quite curious on that part. But you could not walk around the weird tablets, I have to say, and the writing is clearly not a normal language that anyone knows. But you can't find anything really about the Templars, so we are just curious if your uncle found anything that would help us with that small lead of, and especially one Templar called Artois.
And then Celeste says, we work for the Bibliothèque Nationale, and she takes out the card.
Amelie is probably getting a little bit red.
Mademoiselle Junot takes the card and she reads and she says, I see. Well, I can't tell you anything about the Templars. I don't know anything about them in Glozel. I do have my uncle's diary, which you're welcome to look at.
That would be too kind if we could.
Well, wait here. And she gets up and she leaves the room. And she's gone for about 20 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then she returns and she hands you a diary. It's an old journal, really. Back then, they were made from like leather. They were leather bound. And she says, well, this is what he's left. And I've read it. Unfortunately, he never wrote down the translation. But he did mention that he was in Paris to meet someone. That's why he was traveling. Because, of course, he was spending most of his time in Glozel to do the dig. You're welcome to it, but I would like it back.
Well, obviously. We can also just read it here. If it's not inconvenient, then you know it's not leaving your hands. Nothing else of his. So usually, if you study a thing like that, you have quite paper and notes and anything like that. I suspect that maybe in Glozel you would have something. The things got never returned to your family.
No.
Was he there for university, or did he finance it all himself?
Well, he didn't really have to finance much. I mean, he was digging on his own, and as soon as the tablets came to light, he basically just made copies of them and spent his days in the library trying to research them. So he really only had to fund his food.
Okay, so working on his own. I think Amelie would just wait for basically to have a peek at the notebook.
So basically, you read the diary.
Yeah, and I think at least Amelie would look at Celeste, so we would sit next to each other. We can both read, but Amelie would work from back to the front.
Essentially, you read. It's more like it's a little bit of a life story as well, like an autobiography, because he writes about how he was really, even as a boy, fascinated by archaeology, and he writes about Schliemann and how Schliemann uncovered Troy, and how Woolley uncovered Ur in Mesopotamia, and that he really was so fascinated. But of course, being poor, he would never be able to do this, and he would never be able to leave France. However, then he had found some basically papers that had been written in the early 20s about Glozel, and thought and read about the fact that these tablets had been found, and he was like, oh, I'm going to do what Schliemann did, because Schliemann said, I'm going to find Troy, took his Iliad by Homer and basically walked around the Mediterranean trying to find the place, and then later on did find it. And he said, I can do the same thing. I'm going to go to Glozel, I'm going to get copies of those tablets, and I'm going to decipher them. That's going to be my thing. I'm going to be famous. And he's poor, which meant that he didn't go to school, but nor did Schliemann. Schliemann was a self-made man who was also quite poor, and he believes that he's intelligent and he can do this. So, and you don't get the feeling from the book that he's kind of like overly, that he's a terrible person, full of himself, but he really has this. He has this strong belief that this is his mission, and that.
Yeah.
The powers that be will guide him. So he goes there, and he tries to enlist in the dig archaeology group, and he does get a job. So he's basically the person who's maybe, carrying around the buckets of earth and basically putting them through the sieves and that kind of thing. So he does a lot of menial work. And he describes the dig and how people behave, and he starts describing how to dig. Like basic things like that, they basically stake out squares of equal size and then basically check and cut. It's like making a map. And saying, okay, in this square A1 we found blah 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 blah, and he describes the methodology that they're using and how he's learning. And then every so often he also makes a friend named Nikolai Georges. And the two of them really hit it off, and it becomes clear that they are interested in the same things. And Nikolai says, well, I'm going to help you get access to the tablets, because they are in the museum and they are hidden. Well, they're not hidden, but they're locked away, because if they break, then, there's hell to pay. And so Nikolai manages to convince the higher-ups that this untutored, unschooled person should have access to the tablets. And they say, well, you can look at them after hours. You still have to do your work. You cannot just not work, but you're free to look at them. But you will have to basically copy them. So he does rubbings. And then he starts working off those rubbings. And then and he returns to Paris after the season with the rubbings, and then he spends days, weeks in the library, in the Bibliothèque Nationale. And he researches everything, languages, scriptures, everything, writing systems. And he comes to the conclusion that it seems to be an alphabetic language. So there are different ways you can write using alphabet or using syllables or using, well, ideograms, pictures, that kind of thing. And he basically uses the method of elimination and comes to the conclusion it has to be an alphabet. Which of course helps already, and then he's trying to find people who speak languages, and he basically spends a lot of time doing this, saying, okay, I have the following symbols, and if this is letters, then I take the one that is most common, and then I check, in German it's the E.
Yeah.
For example, so he tries different people and says, well, what's the most common letter in Latin? What's the most common letter in this language? And he tries to piece things together. And the last entry is, I have done it, I've deciphered it, I know what the texts say, and nobody's going to believe me. So I have to go back to Glozel to check something out, and then I will tell the world.
Okay.
And that's the day before he fell under the date of the entry is the day before he fell under the train.
But no mentioning about that he wanted to meet anyone, as he told us.
Well, I mean, the point is that maybe he wanted to check out something in Glozel and then come back and meet with someone, but it doesn't really say that. Yeah, it seems like he was going to, and it would make sense because if you were to take the train to Glozel, you would also leave from Gare de l'Est.
Yeah. But that for sure does not sound like someone who just wants to end his life.
No.
He was.
It sounds like somebody who is very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting us read this. Every letter in this journal shows that he was very passionate about that, and that he for sure was not in plan of just throwing away his life.
That's what we were saying, or my mother and his wife, but nobody was listening.
Very weird. But different times back then. Thank you for letting us read this.
You're welcome. I mean, did it help?
Well, it for sure gives more curiosity on the tablets. And it gives a very nice description on how they did the digging at his time, which is really nicely detailed, written down. So thank you, because nowadays it's handled partly differently, partly exactly the same. So it's really interesting to see how it was done in the beginning of the century. Last century.
Well then.
Thank you very much for taking the time.
Of course. Maybe the Bibliothèque Nationale will finally accept the fact that he did crack it. And she looks at Celeste pointedly. Celeste lifts her hands.
They will probably only do that when we find proof on what it says. Because there are a lot of people, there are a few out there who say, I got the translation. Not. But they still claimed it. I think they would want to have proof, which we do not have. But it surely reads like he was very sure. And whatever he found out, it made sense. It was not a cryptic mess. He must have found something that made sense. And that was probably not like the weather today is awful, but something rather interesting.
It definitely sounds like it. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I would be very happy to learn what my
If we
uncle
find
found out.
anything, we can let you know.
I would appreciate that. But also tell the world, because that's what he wanted.
We will for sure. Thank you. And then have a nice, by now, evening.
You too. And she takes the little bell and she rings, and Mademoiselle Beauvilliers comes in, and she leads you outside and wishes you a happy evening.
Standing outside the building, Amelie just looks at Celeste. I think we need to write some online entries about his life. He was quite impressive.
It's called a blog. She looks at you quite pityingly. It's called a blog, not an online entry.
Maybe also seeing if we can, I don't know, get him an official Wikipedia entry. A better one that is there nowadays.
Well, anybody can go in and update a Wikipedia entry.
I think that might be fun. It would be nice towards him. Ending with
Would you
the
like
words,
to try? I can show you how.
Who killed François Bouvier? Would be the
François Junot.
headline, and the answer is nobody knows.
Well then,
But it is fishy that he got killed over something he found out.
I totally agree. So we will have to think about what we can do next.
I think visiting our friend to Luck might be a good choice. Maybe he has time on the weekend.
We will ring him. How about you ring him, because he's smitten with you?
He liked you as well, but sure.
Please don't tell him you work for the Bibliothèque Nationale.
Well, he knows who we are working for. We don't
Yeah,
have
he
to
believes
say.
that you work for the Louvre, so that's fine.
But we can we return the picture? Or why am I always saying picture? The painting. It's a painting.
Well, we wanted to check out if the painting has changed.
Oh, we never did that.
No, we never got round to it. But we can do that tomorrow. Or tonight, if you like.
Or you have to. I'm not allowed in anymore.
Brilliant. How am I going to tell if the painting has changed? I don't know the first things about paintings.
But you can have your twinkly vibes and see if you can feel anything. Oh, you didn't, right? It was
No,
like,
it
it's
was
just
the
a
wall.
painting. I really have to go back there. Say I'm sorry. And I want my card back.
Well, I'm very sorry that it's not working out for you. You see, for me, this is the first time that people accept me, that people don't think I'm crazy. I feel like I feel at home there. There are people who I can talk to, that are interested in similar things, that, you know, this is the first time that I've been in a place where there are lots of people and nobody has looked at me weirdly. Also, nobody has just shown up and talked to me in a language that I don't understand, or has tried to drag me into a car. Not since I joined.
Have you had that experience before? That sounds like a very dangerous life.
Well, there's a reason why I try to avoid people.
Well, people are stupid most of the times.
Well, now I know what happened. Most of them were from different alts. They realized who I am and they wanted something from me, only I didn't know what was going on. It was a bit scary.
That sounds hell of scary.
There was a year then when I didn't leave my house. Until my parents threw me out.
I think in her mind, Amelie's like, now a lot of things make sense. Because she's like, she's such a nice person. She had no idea why this awkwardness come. But That is horrific, so I get why you feel much safer now. Problem is, I don't feel safe with them.
That's very sad. Because I thought at least we had something in common.
Well, I feel safe with you, but they can do whatever they like and no one will stop them. Because they're officially not even there.
I don't think that they would do what they like. They have a mission. And that mission is quite clear.
We don't even know what kind of technology. They are talking about time travel.
Yes.
We don't know if with my iris scan and fingerprint they can, I don't know, maybe they also have my DNA and they can make a clone.
That would be illegal.
They don't care about legal.
They do. It's one of their laws.
They don't care about other laws, as it seems.
Well, like the sodality, they are bound by one law, and that is no sentient being with a soul must ever be harmed. And that includes cloning. And it also means that they will stand in the way of anyone who's going to try and traffic your soul.
Excuse me, what?
Souls.
The poetry thing.
Whatever you want to call it.
What?
This is something that you learn when you ask them, what do you do?
And it's just normal and okay for you.
That they try to prevent people from taking my soul? Yes, I'm down with that.
No, that you can even take a soul.
I don't know if it's normal, but I mean, it is possible.
It sounds like the weirdest science fiction fantasy book I'm stuck in. I feel like the never-ending story where you just jump into the book and you're in the middle of the story and it's like, what am I reading here?
Well, I mean, for me it's quite the opposite. I always knew that there was something weird going on. But now at least I know what. And I also know that I'm not crazy.
You for sure are not. The thing is, I feel like I'm going crazy every day a little bit more with all the things that should not be out there.
And that is what really is very painful for me, because I thought I had someone that I could share this with. Because, I mean, Eric is nice and so is Micheline, but, you know, Micheline is 600 years old. And, sorry?
They are both a bit weird. Nice, but weird.
Yeah, and Eric, I mean, Eric isn't Jaina. He is more of a bureaucrat. He's really nice and he will help you with lots of things, but he can't look behind the veil.
Well, he's probably closer to me than anyone else then. I still don't think that I belong in... I'm just a stupid normal person.
You saw what happened. You saw at the auction house. You saw. Don't tell me you didn't, because you did.
It must have been a very weird fever dream.
All right, if that's what you'd like to think.
There's no logical way to explain that. And why, like, millions, no, billions of people don't know that? That sounds insane from a science point of view. My brain can't cope with that.
Okay, now, you know about paint and you know about colors because it's what you do.
Yes.
Now, what do you know about infrared?
It changes the colors.
Yeah, but it's light you can't see.
Yes.
It's still there.
Yes, scientifically you can prove it's there.
Indeed, you can prove that it's there because now we have ways of making it visible. But for tens of thousands of years of human history, people didn't know it existed. They might have seen its effects, but they didn't realize what it was. So now we have a technology that makes this visible. And what I'm trying to say to you is, that there is something that certain people can see and others can't. Let's just say that my technological makeup, my hardware, is different than that of Ash, which is why I can see things she can't. And the same goes for you. Call it a genetic mutation, although we just know where the genes come from. But it's an ability that certain people have. Like, there are people who have pitch perfect hearing. Not everybody has it.
I for sure don't. At least based on what I'm told, that I'm listening to music on my phone speaker without proper speakers.
Yeah, but you see, what I'm trying to say is, just because some people don't see a certain thing or don't hear something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
She can see Amelie like mulling over this and thinking and letting this basically sink in. That in a very weird way makes sense.
But for me, the problem is that you are the first person who is like me that I've ever met. Knowingly met.
Yeah, that doesn't change.
Well, it does. No, it doesn't change that I've met you, but it would have been nice to have somebody to share this with.
Well, you
because
can
this
talk
is
to
my
me.
path.
That whatever I struggle with and do with doesn't mean that we cannot talk.
Yeah, but it'll mean that I will go places and you won't, and I will be alone doing the things that I do. But that's fine. I mean, it's your decision. It's just
I
sad.
haven't made any decision yet, except being very angry at... Maybe I'm more like you than I think I am, because I'm very angry at them being like the big organization doing whatever they like because they have the power to do that. Because honestly, they can do whatever they like.
Yeah, but they don't.
That's not the point. They can, and no one will be able to stop them.
Well, I would say, to me, it's a sign of higher morals if somebody could do everything and anything and chooses not to and reinforces that choice every single day, than someone who can't do everything legally but still goes ahead and does it.
Who tells us they're not, I don't know, leadership change? And then they just do everything differently. And then we're suddenly part of the insanity.
How do you mean?
Well, at the moment they're behaving well. That can change quickly.
Well, they've been doing this for thousands of years. The Itron is
they
old.
Say.
So I know.
You've been there thousands of years ago where they started.
No, but I looked at the archives. You see, I just went there one day and I just said, show me everything. They are more than happy to do it. It's just that you need to ask.
They're very bad at introducing people into this.
I
said a handbook and a guideline would be really, really nice. I still think this weird pin is doing things that we don't even know about.
You see
Maybe
that
if
she's
you
actually
press it,
pinned
it
it.
explodes or whatever.
She's pinned it to her backpack.
We should maybe look through that and see what maybe... Did you try your tingly thingy if there's anything on that? Maybe it's a tracker.
She removes it and holds it out. Touch it. Does it tickle?
I don't feel tickling.
Well, me neither. No.
Well, Amelie was still carefully... It's a question if she feels tickling basically from Celeste coming. Because
mean-
Celeste has it in her hand, so if
Oh,
I'm
no,
so
no, no,
close to
no,
her
no.
and I focus, is there anything?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
See, now I feel like someone who has these wild theories and no one else understands.
No, I do understand you, but I find it so funny. You would actually commit important information to paper and leave it in your room, but at the same time somebody offers you a
Again,
vault.
my room is safe because the rest of my house... Well, it's maybe not safe if Toulouse has like a wild day and starts to eat my papers, but then still no one else gets to read what I wrote down. The others don't care.
I understand that what you're learning is
No one
Or it
can
must
hack
be.
my home and just digitally can get access to my paper notebooks in my drawer.
no, that's true. But you see, for me, I've known for such a long time that the truth is out there. I mean, I can recite every dialogue piece from every single X-Files episode because it really spoke to me that there is something out there. The truth is out there, and some people know about it. And now, suddenly, I am told that all of the weird occurrences, all these weird people that I've been meeting, all these things that have been happening to me weren't just in my head, and that there is something out there, and that the things that I thought I saw, I did see. That is
Which is
like
good
someone
that
telling
you-
you, no, you're not ill. You're not making this up. We believe you for the first time. And guess what? There are other people like you. You are not alone.
The thing is, I'm at the beginning of your journey.
I know.
Until we had this wonderful occurrence, I didn't know that there... Not really. There are weird things in some of the things we are selling because people believe that. Go between witches and voodoo and all the wonderful
And have you
other
never
different
wondered
things
why
there.
it was you who found them?
No. I just thought I was well trained by my parents, and I just, sometimes people just have a nose for something. That's not weird, it's just like it is.
No, it's not weird to have a nose for something unless you completely discard the fact that and disagree with the notion that there are things about these artifacts that are not visible to the naked eye and that would make somebody else just walk past them, but you didn't. Because
think
there was
also-
something there.
While we discuss, Amelie would probably just slowly guide Celeste in the direction of the nearby restaurant, whatever is close by. Be like, in between, like, we should get some food and some wine and talk more.
At the mention of food, Celeste blossoms because she likes eating. She likes food.
Because this is not a discussion that you want to have standing in the street for a long time.
Oh, you would
It's
have been walking. I assume you would actually
Yeah.
not have been standing there. You would have been.
But I think it's
motion.
much nicer to sit down in a corner where you can talk in peace and quiet. It's just weird for me to adapt to all of this.
I can understand that, and I'm afraid that the first contact, as it were, was very traumatizing. Because
Honestly, that thing was less traumatizing than the guy that wanted to shoot me because I didn't give in to him being the good guy, strong guy.
well, I have to say that
I'm more scared of the people, of what they can do. I'm not scared of the monster thingies.
I have to say I was very impressed with you. I would not have been able to stand up for me like that and to stand up for, well, I mean, for what you believe. I was very impressed, but I was also very, very, very afraid for you.
Well, I would have kicked his butt, obviously.
I believe that.
You see, if people like him have the power to walk around with guns and do whatever they feel like.
Which is why he can't. He is not even allowed to be here. There was a lot of trouble afterwards. The liaisons officer was called in for rapport.
But honestly, the two guiding us to the house, they could behave just
They are trained. They wouldn't. It is their job to keep us safe.
Maybe I just have problems with people with weapons.
Maybe you do, but then next time don't request a security detail, because how are they going to keep us safe? If something like that, what we saw, would have come out of that room, do you think that giving it flowers would have worked? You saw what it did.
I could give him a painting. Maybe we should learn how... Maybe I need to learn how to defend myself. That might be helpful. Not to be blindly dependent on them.
Well, the ITON will allow you to train if you want to. You just have to submit, you just have to submit a request and say, this is what I would like to learn, and then they will see to it. They also fund it, but I'm afraid you will have to leave your address.
Maybe I will just throw paintbrushes at them. They can hurt if you hit the eye.
Mm-hmm.
You really think they don't make stupid, illegal stuff with our data?
I don't think they do. To be quite honest, I think that they actually don't even know what to do with the data, because for somebody who is so technologically advanced that they can create alternative worlds and travel to them and travel in time, when it comes to such basic things as distributing data, they don't even think about it. I'm pretty sure that if you ask Micheline, she doesn't even know what Facebook is.
We need to teach them that there are things like personal boundaries and you need to ask before you do things sometimes.
We can do that. I don't think that really, the chief data security officer,
He was.
he really doesn't do that much data security because,
I think
let's face
just
it.
there because they have to have someone there.
Yeah, but you see, he looks after the Bibliothèque Nationale. There are people there, like the granny from next door and her grandchild that have library cards. And then there's like 8 people from the ITON in all of Paris. And he basically looks after the vaults. He makes sure that people have access to their vault. That's what he does with our data. He needs to make sure that we can get into the building at all times when we need to and then leave again.
Okay, then we need to know what he likes so I can get him a gift basket.
I think if you went there tomorrow and you went in and said, can I have my library card back? He'll probably give you a form in triplicate that you need to fill in and sign 3 times. He will give you one, he will put one into his file, and then he will put one into the waste paper basket, and then you'll get your card. I think he is very, I think he just basically thought he was going to be smart and do it really quickly. And if you want to, you can bring him a bottle of wine. That'll go down like a treat.
We should maybe also get something for Micheline for all the work she did while we both slept.
Well, it's her job. But of course, she would definitely be happy to get something.
The question is what?
If I say pizza Hawaii, you're probably going to kill me because you really took objection to people putting pineapple on pizza.
That's a weird thing to do. But maybe something that lasts longer than just a pizza that she inhales within 10 minutes.
She likes 80s music.
There must be CDs out there from that time.
Celeste laughs and she says, well, yes, and there are shops that sell them.
It's not my music.
Oh, then please tell me, because now I'm really curious. What is your music? Because it's not les enterres vivants. It's not the 80s. What is it? And I'm not judging.
It's more like, you know, like some French chanson and a little bit of Taylor Swift and
So
nice
Edith
music.
Piaf?
I love her.
Ooh,
Yes.
I mean, she's timeless.
She
Everyone loves Edith.
She is, and Amelie's like, let me share my current playlist, and she's just like sending over to Celeste the link to her playlist. It's probably quite boring, but I like calm and nice music, not loud and aggressive music.
What is boring about that? There are only two kinds of music, in my opinion. Music that is good for you and music that isn't good for you. And what is good for whom is different for each person. But there is no right or wrong.
Okay. Well, Nicolas says my music is boring. It has no pep in there. Well, I'm trying to tell him that Taylor Swift has quite peppy songs, but he's like, nah.
Shall I let you in on a secret? Ash really likes Taylor Swift. She has her music.
We need to make this dinner where you both show up, and we need to talk about that. Maybe he will make less fun of my music.
Well, I mean, I have to say that she listens to all kinds of different music, because she always says it's good inspiration. And if you just stick to your own thing all the time, then you become a stone.
It's the same with art. You need to look outside to evolve and learn new things and get better. If not, your art is... you will not move forward anymore.
Yeah, and I think it is interesting when you listen to different musicians over time and how their music changes. You know, there are always distinctive parts where you say, okay, this is Madonna, this is Sheryl Crow, but usually, if in most cases, they sound different from album to album. That's why they bring in different producers to bring in different perspectives.
Makes total
And I
sense.
understand that Taylor Swift, I don't know much about her, does all kinds of different things. And didn't you tell me that Beyoncé had just brought out a country album?
Yeah.
There you are. Who would have thought?
Well, a lot of people did not. But it's interesting, well, at least to listen to. I really need to kick him and force him to listen to different music. He's just listening to the one thing. And I forgot to give him the CDs.
You can always do that later. But I mean, to be quite honest, when the two meet and they do start talking about music, he will notice that she listens to all kinds of things. Current, but also old. Classical music as well. Though not so much, but, you know, definitely music through the decades. She likes pop. She doesn't make pop music yet, but who knows?
He will break if she makes pop music. It will be a big struggle for him.
It'll always be Ash.
I would be very curious how he would
Cope with it?
I'm not sure if he would be able to follow that.
Then she
Would
would
be
lose her
interesting.
number one fan.
Well, I think there are quite more out there.
I'm not saying that this is her plan, because of course, if they were to make that drastic a change,
I
they
will
would
tell him
probably...
that's her plan. She will be a big pop star and he will have to live with that, being supportive for it.
I mean, to be quite honest, if they were to make such a drastic change, they would probably lose a big part of their fan base. But they would probably, and they would have to start again and make new ones.
I would just mock him a little. He deserves it.
Why?
It's just a thing we do.
It must be great to have a family.
It is. He's like my brother.
Does he also like cats?
I don't think anyone has choice. Cats decide you have to like them, period.
I guess.
And living with Isabel, you don't have any choice.
You don't
in
have a
that
choice
either.
but to live with cats, I see.
Yes.
And so he's her nephew, you were saying.
Yes.
And why does he live with her?
He wanted to leave a small... Well, he grew up in a small village outside.
Oh, I see,
he
and he wanted to move to
to-
the big city.
And the explanation was he will be there for his aunt to help her a little because she's not getting younger, and she asked also for help in the store. She honestly doesn't need his help, but she likes having him around. I think he went often on summer vacation to his aunt.
Oh, okay, so... Oh, all right.
They
I
are
mean,
quite
that's brilliant.
More, he's not talking that much about his parents.
Oh, you haven't met them?
No.
So how did you meet them? I mean, Isabel and Nicolas?
I was looking for a job.
Oh. And they just
And-
let you move right in. That's...
No, I worked for her for a little while, and then she invited me over for some coffee and some tea, and well, let's say with my last flatmate, it did not work out very well. So I was looking for a new place, and she basically offered, I have a room, you can stay, you need to help a little bit, and then you can stay for free.
That's great.
And she's really lovely.
Well, yes, she is. I've met her. She was very lovely. She was very, very warm and welcoming.
For a long time now, I finally have a place that feels like family.
That's brilliant.
Which shows you don't need to have family by blood. You just chose your family, and that's much better.
Yeah. My family, I don't want to see them ever again because they frankly think that I'm crazy. I mean, they have actually told me so. I could now say, Mom, Dad, I'm not crazy. I saw the monster. It was really there and it killed a person, but I'm not going to.
And you can tell them one of you is the reason that I can see it.
Well, at least somewhere in their bloodline.
Yeah. I would love to tell them my mom, but no. Okay. So, tomorrow,
We go and check out the painting.
or tomorrow I have to be at uni.
Well, but maybe after uni? Or is it the whole day?
No, after uni would be good. I think she will pull out her phone because she has her when she has her classes she has in there. And then so I think how long is the library? Oh, well, we can go in more.
Well,
At
we
6
don't need
o'clock
the
at
library. We just need to go to the 5th basement, where they have your painting. Where they have the painting.
No, but
It's
I
still there.
first need my identity card.
Eric will be there. I will send him. You can send him a text. You have his message. You have his phone number. Just tell him that you need a new library card and you need to fill in the form again. And could he prepare it and you just sign it?
Okay.
He
So I
won't
can
ask
be at
any
the-
questions.
I can be at the library at 6.
Then I'll meet you there at 6.
Awesome. Then get home safe.
You too.
No aliens or monster thingies.
Don't forget to hand over the sleeves. He deserves them.
I will. And she will get the typical kiss left, right, left, or other vice versa. I'm not sure which way around the French do their kissing. And then Amelie will go and drive home, or ride the train home.
Yeah, you probably have to take the metro because it is a little bit late now, and I don't know if you want to walk. And you arrive safely, and we shall leave it here with a look to the time, and in 2 weeks we will see what happened with the painting and what happens if you visit the Duc du Lac and spend some time in his library and a night in his house. Is it haunted? Who knows?
We will see. Because
We
I'm quite
will
sure
see.
Celeste will bring her things if I say something or not. She will have them with her, I'm quite sure.
She will wear a Ghostbusters outfit.
Yeah,
With
maybe
backpack
not.
and everything.
But in the backpack there will be things like she can pull out, like,
Yeah, those
"Just
little...
let me- he's not here at the moment, just let me try."
Yeah, and basically, she's put back the pin onto her backpack, so she's got this Bibliothèque Nationale pin. Then thank you very much, Amélie.
Thank
I
you
hope you
as well.
enjoyed tonight.
I definitely enjoyed it. I know it's a ride and a struggle with Amelie, but it's a lot.
Oh, she's lovely. She's lovely. We like her. And we would like to thank all of you for listening and supporting us. And we wish you all a pleasant evening, day, night, whenever you listen to this or watch it. And we will talk to you again in 2 weeks. Bye.
Yes. Bye.